What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the AskNick Show. In this week's episode, we are having a trading session. We played a couple of great tunes, so if you want to play along, we'd love to have you. Stella by Starlight, Cedar Walton's Bolivia, and in the middle of those two, we played Like Someone in Love in the key of C, not E flat. So if you want to play along, we'd love to have you. Some amazing questions this week, and a bunch of great trombonists stopped by, so a couple of shout outs to all those guys, and it was a really fun episode, so I hope you'll enjoy it as well. Check the description box for the time codes of all the different questions, all the different parts of the episode where we jumped in and played some tunes. So hope you enjoy the episode. Let me know what your questions are down below. Let me know what tunes we should do in the next trading session, and we'll catch you in the next one. Enjoy. What's up, Mills? Everybody's having a nice Friday, and we're live. Hello. What's up, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? Hope everyone is doing well. This is Friday, January 22nd, and Friday, January 22nd is, of course, J.J. Johnson's birthday, and so, of course, we need to start out today's live stream with a little bit of J.J. Johnson, I think, and if you saw on my IG post today or Facebook post talking about favorite records. So, I hope that you can share some of your favorite records, JJ records today. And so despite, the records that I put on there and all of the talk about JJ in person and the octets, when I think about JJ, everyone always thinks about his tune writing as like Lament is the first tune that comes to mind, right? And yeah, there you go. See, Lament coming in on the chat right on time. Lament is like everyone's favorite. But before we get to that, I'm going to play some music on my own, one of JJ's tunes. So one of JJ's great tunes that I love, and I've loved it for a long time. Any of, if any of my former students from Florida State see this, I was obsessed with this tune at that point, and I've recorded it and put it up a bunch of times. And made a big, not a big band, but a trombone ensemble arrangement of Judy, this tune that JJ wrote, and it's one of my favorites. And I've been working on kind of a solo arrangement of this tune, and so we're going to start with that before we dive into the trading session today. So while we're doing that, if you're here for the trading session, we're going to get to that in just a minute. We're going to play 4 tunes today all together, kind of trading back and forth. I'll be sending you the backing track. But we're going to kick it off today. I'm going to play a little bit of a solo version of J.J. Johnson's Judy. So thank you, J.J., for the inspiration constantly. And thank you to Michael Deese, who, when I went up to Michigan State last fall, 2019 fall, he gave me a nice a picture. He had a bunch of copies made of a great picture of J.J., and I've got it in my office. To remind me to get my stuff together, and to keep it together, because JJ set the bar pretty darn high. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play this arrangement. First time playing this arrangement of Judy by J.J. Johnson. So we're going to get started with that. All right, all right. Hope everyone's doing good. So there's a little bit of JJ. I had to do it. Get a little bit of JJ love there. So thanks for putting up with a little of my playing before we jump in. It's a hard one. I had some other things planned. I didn't play those things though, but that's okay. We'll do it again another time. Awesome. Oh, thanks for all the comments. I see everybody in there. What's up, Alton? What's up, Paul? I hope you're doing great, man. Another Paul. Yeah, these J.J. tunes, there's something about those tunes, like that, specifically that one we were just playing, that it's like, it's kind of circular, like it doesn't actually really end ever. So if you know the tune, like it goes, like C minor, D7, E flat, E, B flat over F, F diminished, G minor, and then we're in G minor for a minute, and then it goes to E flat, and it just like it keeps going, and then it goes to that pedal section where it alternates between B flat over F and F sharp diminished, or D7, or like F altered, however you want to think about it. That kind of F sharp, that whole thing, all of that. So, yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Well, I'm glad that they sound clear and easy, Caleb. So it's a goal of mine to always to be able to play clearly. Clarity is the name of the game, or one of the names of the games for me, for sure. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. All right, so we're going to get to some of the topics of the day. Before we jump in and move into the trading, I wanted to address a question that came up last week, and I didn't get to answer the question. Someone was talking about double tonguing, multiple tonguing, and having some trouble using it for when they were improvising. So I think that you have to start practicing playing with double tongue, like in the slow tempo. Like, so for example, if I was playing this tune we were just playing, so I was probably mostly single tonguing, but multiple tonguing would end up being, even at that slow tempo, I could still practice multiple tonguing so that when I went faster, it would be clean and clear. So what I mean is, like, I could play da 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 da, or I could go da da ga da ga da, right? Da 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 do dee da, da da ga do ge da. So what I'm always trying to do when I'm playing and improvising and just playing whatever, whether it's single tongue or multiple tongue, is matching the two together so that I can freely articulate how I would talk, however I would say the phrase. And I've said this to my students, if they're watching, they'll say, oh yeah, he says this all the time. If you say it, however you say it, like doodle, double, whatever, you should articulate it that way. If you go, that's doodle, right? That's how you should articulate it, because that's what's natural to you, that's my one kind of pet peeve about, well, maybe there's more pet peeves, but my one thing is that everyone is different, like, and you can't subscribe to like, this way is right and this way is wrong. It's like, this way is right for these people. This way is right for these people. So for me, that's pretty important. So I would hope, and I hope you will kind of take that approach and kind of think about how you need to find what works for you. That's something I talk about that, Wycliffe Gordon was super great at for me in our teaching or student-teacher relationship, was in having that instilling the curiosity, basically, like giving answers when necessary, but really actually trying to make me go and find the information myself, not necessarily like just handing it all over. Here you go, this is how you do it. It was like, no, like, here you go, like, here's some stuff, like, you can go and like figure out the rest from here. So there it is. There's a question about multiple tonguing and how you implement it into jazz. So the steps are to figure out how you would say it naturally, and then try to do it at slow tempos. Because if you can't do it at that speed cleanly, there's no way you're going to go. All that is not going to happen. So, and I do a D and a G syllable. So, enjoying Javier and Nero. Yeah, Javier is great. We released his album this summer on my label, Outside In Music. It's called Freedom. If you want to check it out, Javier and I were at Juilliard at the same time, and little known trivia fact, we have the same birthday. Not the same year. He's a little younger than me, but same day, same birthday. But yeah, he's doing great. He accepted a position in one of the military bands, I think the Army Blues, I believe, and he is away at getting prepped for that. I think he's at boot camp right now, actually, this January 2021. So our program for today is going to include 4 tunes. So hopefully you're ready to rock and roll. We're going to play Stella by Starlight. We're going to play Like Someone I Love, Bolivia, because this week was also Cedar Walton's birthday, who's the composer of Bolivia, of course. And so we're going to kick it off with Stella by Starlight. So what's going to happen is we'll play the melody together. If you want to, you could play like a harmony line, make yourself happy, or just play the melody along with me. And then what we'll do is we'll end up trading. So I'll kind of call it out as we go, but if I'm not playing, that pretty much means you should be playing. And so it's interactive. So if you want to record your side and then we can see it later. With Stella, we're going to, so watch out in the last A on this particular version, they do the chromatic half steps down, E, A, E flat, A flat, D, G, C sharp, F sharp in those last 8 bars. But yeah, if you record your side, I'd love to put it together a video of all of us trading together. That would be super awesome. But no pressure. You can just do this for fun, and it'll be up on YouTube eventually, so you can go and play it back and practice, etc., etc. We're gonna kick it off with Stella by Starlight. All right, here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's your turn. You should be playing right now. All right. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we're having a little trading party today, playing some tunes. Hope you're having a good Friday. And thanks for everyone's coming in, making some nice comments here. Appreciate that, Carlos. Let's see. Paul has a question. Paul says, great playing. Are each of the chord names and sequences memorized in your head, or are they in your ear instead, or both? It's both, I guess. You kind of learn tunes and you internalize the chord structure. You internalize the chord, the sounds of the chords. And that particular tune is one you learn usually fairly early on in the game. And then over the years, it just becomes more and more automatic. But you're also listening, and listening to this. I don't always play along with these play-alongs. So for me, I try to not do it so that when I do play along with the play-along, I can kind of pretend like it's a real band, So if you get too entrenched with the play-along, you get to know exactly what's coming, right? And then it doesn't feel organic anymore. But if you do it sparingly, like I try to do it sparingly, it can be more interesting, I guess, musically. But yeah, you internalize the chord progression. I don't really like to use the word memorize, because memorize implies that you're just like reciting a list of chord names back and just remembering the sequence, as opposed to internalizing means that you don't have to guess because you know it. You know it. You could play it on the piano. You could play a bass line. Selma Repair says, do you have a favorite JJ tune we can look up? Yeah, for sure. We were talking at the very beginning about, and I played a little version, and you can see it after the live stream is over if you like, but Judy is a favorite. I also like Shortcake. Those are two if you want to look them up. But yes, today is J.J. Johnson's birthday. If you didn't know, we started off the day with talking J.J. and talking about favorite records. Some people dropped in some favorite records. J.J. in person, one is one for me, and the J&K Octet, that first one with Night in Tunisia on it, is another favorite of mine. And mostly I'm just saying it's my favorite because it was one of the first ones. Not necessarily because it's the only good one, but that was my one of my first loves. And Caleb says, mixing your sound for live streams is way harder than I thought. Yes. There's a lot of moving variables, especially as you introduce more and more things. Okay, Michael asks, hey Nick, where do you see jazz or jazz trombone going in the future, in the sense that swing evolved to bebop, then to free, etc.? Oh man. I don't know. I guess a lot of different people are taking it in a lot of different directions. I guess it depends on what your preferences are as a person, So people are going to do their thing, I want to see people getting away from feeling tied down, with the trombone specifically, because people have, at least I do, and I think other people have what would you call it? Like a stigma or something about the trombone, and like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. But yeah, we can pretty much do whatever, man. I think it's a great lead instrument. I think it works well in small groups. I hope that we can get more people, thinking of trombone as like a lead instrument, not like an obnoxious instrument. Man, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I'm not a predictor of the future. I'm not a seer. I know that I want to make music that, I know it's cliche. Like I hear like, I want to swing, but I also want to play other stuff. I want to play free. I want to play the lineage of the music. I want to play like 60s modal Wayne Shorter stuff. I want to do all of it. So yes, Caleb says we can't just say trombone is hard and give up. Yes, please don't just say that. Trombone is hard, but don't give up. Chris asked a question. He says, what's your favorite hidden gem record that not a lot of people know of? Oh man, hidden gem record. I guess it depends. When you say not a lot of people know about, are we talking, it's like kind of a relative term, right? It's like, how deep of a historian are we talking about? Like you, Chris, probably know about whatever records that I would bring up, but maybe a younger student maybe wouldn't. One that I think is really good of JJ, since we're talking about JJ, is some where he's not the leader, So I'm finding some. There's Horace Silver, Cape Verdean Blues. People know about that record, I think, but I think it's interesting because it's Joe Henderson and Kenny Dorham and JJ. No, is it Kenny Dorham or is it Freddie? Getting caught red-handed here. But anyway, it's definitely Joe Henderson, and it's like kind of interesting to hear JJ play with those guys and play different kind of music, because that's kind of pushing beyond JJ's comfort zone, So that's interesting. I like some of the there's like a Duke Ellington record called Blues in Orbit. Not a lot of people listen to. I like that one. But yeah, Nutville is iconic. It's not like that hidden of a gem of a record, but yeah, Blues in Orbit, Duke Ellington. I like that one. There's the one called the Lost Sessions. It's all these small group sessions. Those are pretty cool to hear. But I like also the suites of Duke Ellington. Sometimes people listen to them and sometimes they don't. So it's really depends on who we're talking to here. Like the New Orleans suite, like Far East suite, like all that stuff. Oh, there we go. This is a slept on record. This is obvious. I should have said this. The Standards album from Live at the Village Vanguard, J.J. Johnson. It's got a black cover with a trombone on it, gold trombone, and some of my students couldn't find it. They bought it on cassette tape and then transferred the cassette tape to digital. Some people sleep on that one, but there's a great solo on Just Friends on there. And there's a great version. Oh man, the great version of My Funny Valentine on there. They play so musically. Yeah, it's killing. Yeah, it was on YouTube. The Standards album was on YouTube. They took it down. I have it now. DJ asks, do you think that jazz clubs are going to be able to stay open with these live stream concerts? I have no clue, man. I hope so. A lot of them are doing fundraising efforts in addition. So if it's going to be important for us to try to support these clubs, man. It's going to be definitely hard with basically no income. You can only get so much for these tickets, for these live streams. So I would definitely, if you can support the clubs. They're trying their best. Smalls has a great foundation, if you can, and that's the lifeblood of the creative jazz scene in New York is Smalls, as well as the great venues like Dizzy's and the Blue Note and Jazz Center is closed now, and Birdland's in danger of being closed. So I don't know, man. It's like it's hard. I don't have a good answer. I hope so, but if they don't, something will come back. I think we're going to have to be nimble as an industry. I think we're going to have to embrace jazz's role as a non-popular form of music. Sometimes I think our problems come from trying to straddle the divide between like a classical model and a pop model, and we kind of sit in the middle, and so we get neither we get no success in either way because we don't have a lot of broad appeal, but we also don't do a great job of like getting foundational money. We don't do a great job of it's kind of moving that way. A lot of things are going into the institutions. All my friends are getting teaching jobs, and it's because of this exact thing. I'm not saying that they're getting a teaching job and they're not qualified to, because of course they are, but it's like jazz is moving towards these institutional things, for better or for worse. But, there's still going to be people that are able to, do their thing and cultivate an audience. That's why it's just like so important for you to cut out the middleman and try to just develop your own audience on your own and get rid of the idea of whether it's jazz or it's not jazz or it's this or it's that. It's just music, It's cliche to bring up that, Ellington quote of it's either good music or bad music. There's only two kinds of music, good and bad, whatever. And I agree, but it is cliche, but it's true. And just, you have to start cultivating your own audience as soon as you can, because whatever model you think exists to like become successful in the jazz industry probably won't apply to you by the time it's time to go. Like it's changing all the time, being able to move to New York and play with Art Blakey or somebody like that is not really a thing. So anyway, not to get too esoteric here. Brian Soy, do you feel a difference playing in a big band with 3/5 bones instead of 4? How about listening to a big band with 3 bones, 3 or 5 bones instead of 4? Well, I love Duke Ellington's section, so I love the 3-bone sound, and it's a different sound. I'm not a big fan of the 5-bone sound, really. I think it's too much. I think it's too loud and too many bass trombones. Sorry, bass trombonists. That's just how I feel. There's a lot more. When you have 3, it's all triads because it's all 3 notes, It tunes differently. The intonation is different when you have 4 versus 5 voices. If you ever start to mess around with that sort of stuff, for example, if you have a C drone or if you have a C and a G drone, it's going to tune differently. The E natural is going to tune differently to make that triad. I know this is super detailed and probably too nerdy for anybody that's watching a live stream about this, but anyway, the intonation is different. I like that 3 trombone sound, man. The Lincoln Center band, they do that too. Sometimes you miss the low notes though, for sure. I think it's a sound, man. It's a sound. But playing, I like both ways. It's interesting playing with the Gil Evans project, which it's been a little while because of everything, but Gil wrote for all different size ensembles. So some of them are 1 trombone, bass trombone, and tuba. Some of them are 2 trombones, bass trombone, and tuba. Some of them are full trombone section. Some are full trombone section plus tuba. And hearing and blending and all of that. It's very interesting, man. It's super cool. you have to just be able to adapt to any situation. I'm putting together kind of a whole sequence of lessons about tuning with drones and stuff like this. So I've been thinking about it a lot too. But it's super important. That's how you set yourself apart as a section player too. Like, can you identify where your note sits in the voicing, not only in terms of the pitch, but the balance, and trying to make sure that it sounds good. And playing Gil Evans music is a good example of that. What's your plans for your next album? Alton, that is a great question. I had plans, and obviously things have changed. But no, I'm going to release some stuff that I've been working on my own. That's coming this spring. And then I'm working on some music for I'm not sure how many musicians it's for yet, and I'm going to keep speaking it into existence. So I'm going to say it here on the live stream again. It's a jazz group plus a percussion ensemble. So I don't know exactly how many people it involves yet, or how many music. I'm thinking 4 jazz people, like bass, drums, 2 horns, and then percussion ensemble, just to try to explore some different textures, because everybody does strings or big band, and I don't really. At some point I will do a big band, but for now I want to do something different, and I'm writing some new tunes for my sextet too. But so we're gonna take a break from Q&A and move back to our trading session. We're gonna play Like Someone in Love in C, not in E flat, in C. Here we go with Like Someone in Love. So I'll take the first chorus. We'll do it the same way. So we'll play the melody together, and then I'll take the first chorus, and then you guys can take the second, and then we'll trade at some point, and I'll call it out like I did.
2, 3, 4.
All right, we're gonna go to eights. Going to eights. So sometimes when you don't listen to the backing track before, you don't know what's about to happen at the end. But like I said, it keeps it fresh. Keeps it fresh. Speaking of JJ, man, there is a killer video of JJ playing that tune from a live TV thing in Europe somewhere. And it's killing. Like, he's got the band set up. There, one cat, is it Kenny Clark? I got Philly Joe. I forget exactly. I'll have to go look at the personnel again. But on 3 different like little podiums, and there's some great shots of his slide technique. So if you want to check out JJ's slide technique, that's the video. That's the one. Jim Pugh turned me on to that. So DJ says, what do you think you do when you're learning a tune and you can't find a single version of the tune that has a definitive version of the melody? That is a great question. Finding a way to learn the melody when you can't find a version that has a clear melody. Well, I guess it's a kind of a combination, and you kind of hear what's similar between the two. You got to kind of put a conglomeration together and then look at the lead sheet, and kind of see what the simplest version of it might be. If you want to be really specific about it, you can go and find the score to the original like musical that it came from or something like that. And I know there were some colleagues of mine at Juilliard that used to go and do that to make sure that like because we always put probably too many chord substitutions and like try to make it too hip. But if you want to go and see like the original stuff, you can find the score books from the musicals. That's like the real melody, like Cole Porter's melody, the real melody. It's probably not quite as complex as we want to make it out to be, Peter asks, what's the bluesiest JJ solo you've ever heard? Mine is a solo on J-Lock on the Kansas City album with Basie, Freddie, Eddie Lockjaw Davis. Oh, sure. The bluesiest solo? But I think the most killing blues line is Mysterio. So, it's killing. That will be the one lick I will call out. What's your favorite Count Basie tune of all time? Oh, that's a good question. You got to love Blues and Haas's Flat because it features the trombones. Man, I like those Basie and Sinatra records. That's kind of what I'm about. And there's like there's a feature for Al Gray on The More I See You. That is killing too. All right, Brian asked, do you ever feel like there's not enough time to go deep enough into all the groups or players around, even if we're only talking about the famous ones? Yes. You can't know everything. That's something that I like to say more than once to students, my students in particular, because it's true for me too. Like there isn't enough time. You have to prioritize. You have to mix what people are telling you and what you like together and figure out how that ends up with you having a really strong foundation in the music and also develops your own kind of way of playing and your own natural vocabulary decisions and all that sort of thing. I think it happens naturally from studying. So, but there's no way you can't go into everybody. So for me, it's like, all right, I dug most deeply on J.J. Curtis, Slide Hampton, and then a little snippet of this person, that person, Clifford Brown, a bunch of solos, some Pat Metheny solos, some Herbie and Chick solos, you can't be everywhere. You can't know everything. So it's like, I feel like you have to go it's like the 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of your transcription or study should be on a small group of 5 people that are really the most influential and important. Some of them have to be on your instrument because you have to know the context of what your instrument can do, right? So if I was going to expand from there, it would also include, Wycliffe Gordon, Steve Turre, Steve Davis. Those people all, I super highly respect and want to play like too. So, that's 6, I guess. I transcribed a bunch of Wycliffe Gordon when I was in high school, but then there's little things I got into a little thing where I transcribed a bunch of Trummy Young for a while and then some Teagarden for a while, but it was 80% of what I'm talking about is the same 20 to 30 JJ solos, Curtis solos, just getting the understanding of the vocabulary and the context, and then you can kind of expand from there. And that's what makes you. Do you ever sing when you perform? No. There was one gig I did sing. I filled in for a singer and we had a brass band and I sang. So sometimes if I'm playing a brass band gig, yeah, sure, I might sing, but it's not really a thing that I do. Okay, so we got a couple more tunes. Maybe we'll skip the blues. So we're going to play one more tune to kind of close out today. So we'll do one more tune and then we'll take any other questions at the end, of course. All right, so like I said at the beginning, it's JJ's birthday. So happy birthday, J.J. Johnson. This week was also Cedar Walton's birthday. It was back at the weekend, but so this week in our studio, we were kind of checking out some Cedar Walton because Cedar writes great tunes and they're challenging and fun and all of that. So we're going to play a little bit of Bolivia. So Bolivia, some people have a love-hate relationship with this tune because the A sections are vamp, right? There's mostly a vamp. It's one chord for a while. And then the B sections have a bunch of changes. So I won't dig too deep into it, but let's just trade choruses on this one. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But this one's not quite as long as the others. But so we're going to jump into trading session here. One more tune today on Bolivia. And then we'll wrap it up with whatever questions are left. And we'll talk about what's coming up in the future. Some very exciting things coming for February. I'm excited to be launching something very cool. So we'll talk about that in February or coming up. But for now, we're going to jump into Bolivia. So get your lead sheet out if you want to do that. But we're going to play Bolivia. And if you're playing along and you want to record it and send it to me, I'd love to put together a little compilation of all the cats trading along, which is super awesome. But no pressure, just fun. All right, so here we go. We're going to get rolling with Bolivia. There's a long introduction. I'll cue you into the melody here. I'll just even get it rolling because that's how long the intro is. All right, here we go. Bolivia. It's G7. Somebody asked what key it is. Yes, okay, so the surprise ending again. I'm always getting confused. What's up? I see Nick Crane is here. Jaden, what's happening, man? I see some questions came in. So that was Cedar Walton's Bolivia. So thanks for playing. If you've been playing along today, we'll do it again next month. Trying to get one trading session in per month at least, and as fitting it into our Friday live stream. So if you didn't know, we're here Friday every week at around 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that tune, I guess the tune is technically in D, I think. At least the bridge kind of centers around it, but I guess you could argue otherwise. But G7 is that first chord. That's what we were doing there. Question: how can I come up with more creative lines? Well, transcribe more creative lines, number one. Get some more like different people into your playing. So like obviously trombone is great, but we got to have a little bit of extra flavor, you know? So like sometimes I transcribe like, you know, Joshua Redman, or transcribe Chick Corea or Herbie Hancock, you know, like different more quote unquote modern people that maybe are playing the same vocabulary, but in a different way, you know. Playing free always helps me to like try to figure out what I'm playing. Maybe diving deeper into the intervals and modes of the 4 parent scales could be something that you want to do. That's major, melodic minor, harmonic minor, and harmonic major. If you don't know the 7 modes of each of those, you might find some stuff in there that inspires you. When do you handwrite music versus using software? Do you think handwriting band parts might be feasible if you're dipping your toes into writing and don't want to pay a ton for software you might not use much? There are some free options. The thing about writing by hand is you got to have really, really clear handwriting, so you got to go really slow. So when I was in grad school, our first assignment in arranging class was to do that exact thing, to write a nonet chart or octet chart, but do all the parts and score by hand and make a performance copy. So you might do things like, you know, find a straight edge and make sure everything is even, and like pre-mark the bar lines on the parts. And there's free software options. I would recommend doing the hand by hand once, but as long as it's clear, I don't think it matters. Steve Teray, all his stuff is all by hand, and it's really great. All his exercises, transcriptions, everything by hand, and it's really great handwriting. For me, my handwriting is terrible. So I write on the computer. I do not compose at the computer, hardly ever. I might arrange, find voicings and type and kind of put them into the computer, but I always do it by hand on, I like to use large format paper, like a score paper. I stole this from Maria Schneider, Paul McKee, and a bunch of people have said this before, like write on giant score paper, even if it's not what it's going to be eventually. And I have a notebook. So I also have this notebook here. I'll show you that I write stuff in. Here, I can show this camera. Will it focus? No. So you can't even see how bad my handwriting is. But at any rate, I have this notebook where I write stuff. That's like quick hands. So sometimes it's melodies, sometimes it's voicing, sometimes it's chord changes, all the different ways that you can write tunes that I do. But I use a little notebook like this, and then anything that's going to go to the band, I always put it in the computer because my stuff is super sloppy. But there is education discounts you can look into. There are some free options. What is it? Muse Score? It's better than nothing, that's for sure. Muse Score. So check that out. I think it's for iPad too. Yeah, Muse Score. Confirmed, Muse Score. That's free. So you can start with that, Brian. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. Appreciate you all. It's been a very fun live stream. It's great to connect with a bunch of you again, or some of you for the first time. We're going to have some guests on the show coming up in February, so that'll be fun. We're going to announce Mouthpiece collaboration, which is coming up in February too, which is super awesome. I'm excited about that. We'll be back with more tunes. I'll post them up and make sure that everybody knows what the tunes are for next. If you have any suggestions, I saw somebody who said Whisper Nod earlier. We did that already, but maybe we can do it again. So that's coming up in February. Some more, I'm going to do kind of like a concert kind of situation. It's kind of like today, maybe not totally trading, but kind of put it together, a 20-30 minute solo concert to do. That'll be something that I'm trying to work up for myself as a challenge, a personal challenge. We'll be back every Friday, 1 p.m. Next Friday, I've got a master class that goes until 1:40 Eastern time. So it'll probably be more like 2 next week if you want to. Augustine Indus, neither a King 2B or 3B. I play a King 3B plus. The plus is just a slightly larger bore, kind of medium bore, like a Bach 16 kind of vibe. 525 bore. If you want to replay any of this stuff, it's going to be re-released without any of the banter as an episode that comes out on the YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and head over there. I see a lot of people are watching from YouTube, so you're already there. If I ever play bass trombone, I am a bass trombone holder, sure. No, yeah, I play bass trombone when the situation warrants it, but I wouldn't say, like, being a doubler is not my main thing, so I don't double as well on bass trombone as other people do, that's for sure. But yeah, I play bass and bass trombone. I'm so glad everybody could be here today. Thank you so much. I'm going to jump off. I got a call in 10 minutes, so I got to get on. Thanks for being here. As always, we'll see you next week, and take care.